Welcome everybody to this edition of this episode of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. I'm dropping shit. Excuse me. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with the other hosts, Damon and Jaquari Armstrong, and we
Hello,
are
folks.
the Armstrong brothers. Always wanted to do that, but this is the conversational. I want to call it grown folk, but it is what it is. You know who we are. You look at us. You can tell whether or not you fit in this category or you want to listen to us if you're in another category. But this is who we are. This is what we've been doing. We're 2 years strong. Do us a favor, go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Every time you see a little short or reel, like that reel, share that reel, share our channel with folks. Have them come through. Have a listen. And this is what we're doing. You know, this is how that's enough of the housekeeping. Jaquari, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling good. And messed around and took me some prescribed chemicals, so I'm in a good mental space,
There it is.
and I'm ready to hit it.
Would you say that bell is not on? You know that.
Look, sometimes it be on, and I just drown the motherfucker out.
Damon, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I feel good, man. I'm in a good place, man. I take advantage of days like this. It's a little cold today, man. It's like 40 degrees. Go from 70 to 40, up and down, man. But as long as the sun out, it's a beautiful day, man. I feel blessed.
What you say? Well, where you at, sir? I'm here. I am here. You feel what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Oh,
Right.
let's try something a little different, man. It ain't that big, and we ain't going off script or anything, Damon. So don't you sit there and panic like, what is he talking about? Didn't they
I got
just
my
tell
got my
me?
notes and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna put me on blast, bro? Okay.
No. I just don't want you to think that I'm trying to throw you something from out left field with something. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, you
I
know I
just
can handle it, bro.
yeah, no doubt. Um, I wanted your opinion about something. Just just your natural reaction more than anything. Your guys' natural reaction. If you were sitting in the park, and it's that social experiment that they've been hitting social media a lot lately. If you're sitting in the park and there's a little child sitting beside you, and a stranger comes up to that child, this child is maybe 8 or 9, and a stranger come on, hey, your mama's looking for you, right? And you're sitting right there, right? Oh, your mother's looking for you. Your mother's looking for, come on with me. I got her on the phone, right? And you hear that child, male or female child, say, who are you? I don't know you. What would you do? We'll start with you, Jaquari.
Well, I mean, I've got to say something, man. I mean, for two reasons, man. First, being just moralistically, man. You've got to get past uh, the feeling that you're going to be persecuted if you say something nowadays. I mean, that's just the space that social media has put us in. I mean, but that compared to me, getting sleep after I know something happened to a child and I could have stopped it. I mean, that would tear me to pieces, man. And secondly, man, I'm a through my job, I'm a mandated reporter.
Yeah.
So in any situation, man, involving a child that I see that's busted up, man, or I have suspicion on, I got to report it. But I
You
mean,
mandated, right?
yeah. That being said, man, it's a sticky situation, man, because the first time I went to Texas, me and my wife, we take my grandson out, and my daughter's African American, but my son-in-law is Caucasian. So my grandson looks white. And you know, I'm walking around Texas carrying this little white baby, and I got looks. I got a lot of looks. So you
No,
know,
no, no, no. I'm sorry, but your grandchild is not particularly white, light skinned, but not
when
particularly white.
when he was a toddler, when he was a toddler, he was blonde haired, blue eyed, and it looked like he had a
Got
tan.
you. I
Yeah,
got
looked like a
you.
little Australian baby.
You said, oh,
I mean, but you know, and no, and don't get me wrong, nobody approached me, but you know, just from my comfort level, man, I found myself, you know, having to explain. I explained it to the lady, to the cashier lady at the Walmart, you know, and fortunately, you know, that wasn't the case. But you know, I'm like, you know, man, it looks away.
got you. I get it. I understand that. I understand that. Damon, what about yourself? I think you're on mute, my guy. We can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Unplug your headphone. There you go.
We
I'm gonna go out and come back in, man. Cause
no. Can you hear us? We just heard you.
I don't hear anything. I'm gonna go in and come back out.
We hear you, but you don't hear us.
How you answer the question if you don't hear us?
Okay, all right. Just go ahead and do it. Listen, this is why I like doing the live, man. See, people who want to have everything under control, they pre-record that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think if you don't have everything the way you should have it, you should pre-record, especially when it comes to money. You know what I mean? You'll be able to edit things out or whatever, right? But when it's just a free-flowing conversation like we have, when there's a free-flowing conversation like we had, can you hear us now, Damon?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. Well, we could hear you when you were saying, "Hey, man, I can't hear y'all." We could hear you. All right. So, but what I was saying was, I like this kind of live format because it shows we're human, and also we're good on our feet too. All right, Damon, what's your answer to the question?
I think he might be having problems again.
Are you having problems?
Yeah, bro.
All right, try to say it before you blank out on us.
I know. Blank out.
I'm saying, go.
Let me get it together, man.
Yo, you could get the answer in real quick before anything.
I didn't even hear what y'all was saying. That's what my whole point. I didn't even hear what y'all was saying.
The first question Jaquari answered. If you was in a park and a young lady, a young man was sitting beside you, and the stranger comes up.
Yeah, I got that. I didn't hear what his response was. Is my point.
We want yours. Don't even worry about that.
My sensibilities tell me, man, if the child says I don't know you, then I'm going to act appropriately. I'm going to do, I'm going to engage the situation. Like, I'd rather be wrong 100%, man, and deal with the situation than, just basically blowing it off and not even addressing it. I don't think my conscience will allow me to, you know what I'm saying, sleep with that, deal with it.
Okay. Oh yeah. I think I'm right along with Jaquari working in law enforcement as long as I did, right? And what I ended up doing was you have to pay attention to your surrounding period because it's just your job period. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I looked at the little skit that was going on, and the folks I really believe they was real people because when they heard the little girl say and the little boy say, "Hey, I don't know you. Who are you?" Hey, whoa, wait a minute. That don't sound right. You could tell they perked up. Like, hey, whoa, hold on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm running along with you guys, right? I think my conscience would really bother me if I didn't say it, even if that person is in the right. If I didn't say something like, "Yo, where your mother at? Who are you?" You know what I mean? And then would have to look, especially if the man started to get loud. Now I'm like, "Yo, hold on. Now you showing me that there's a problem." You know what I mean? And the person asked the child, I'm not all of them to a person like, "Hey, do you know him?" See, that's it right there.
And I think for me, I need to specify, man, that it don't matter if it's a male or a female.
Yeah,
Hell, an older child or whatever. I
yeah,
mean, there's anybody, I mean, just working with young people, period, man. It gave me the understanding that anybody under the age of 18 is vulnerable, man.
it's true.
I mean, and anything could happen. Anything could happen. Now, I'm not what you might consider to be a busybody or anything like that, but just being raised how I was and where I was and everything, man. And applying that street savvy, man. I'd have to step in. I'd have to step in.
Gotcha.
By virtue of the fact that that child said, "I don't know you. Why are you, engaging me?" You know, I think that's pretty much cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? That would, that situation on his face requires questioning the situation. Like, you don't know him? Hey, dude, you're not finna take this child anywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna call the police and we're gonna sort it out. You know.
Can I put a spin? Could I put a spin on the question, Keith?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What if the scenario differed in the fact that you could tell that this person was in some sort of guardianship over the child, but they were being aggressive and abusive, overly aggressive, past the point of discipline. Would you say anything then?
I
Here's
still
that
would
part.
I still would say it.
Yeah.
I mean, for one reason, to let them know that somebody see what you're doing. You know what I
No,
mean?
I mean, but that as sticky as your question was, I mean, this question is just as sticky because I mean, who who are we to insert ourselves in that situation? Because as far as corporal punishment goes, I mean, I fall on either side. I mean, there's a very thin line between corporal punishment and abuse, right?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Can you explain that, Keith?
In my opinion, no, sir. Corporal punishment is when somebody, and just as just me, when you when a person is whooping their child with a belt and they aim solely for the behind. You understand what I'm saying, T?
Mm.
Corporal punishment has to do with more or less on the thing. Now, when it becomes when it starts to leak over to abuse to me, open hand and closed fist, I have a problem with it. But see that's because I've always had to deal with it on the job. You know what I mean? And it's the interpretation.
Well,
Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead,
Dan,
Swan.
go. No, I was just going to ask you. I mean, is by any chance has there ever been a situation where you been called to a scene and you had to assess that?
Okay, I can tell you it's kind of lengthy, but I'll let y'all know because it's been several times. But the one that sticks out in my mind is
Right. The one that
I,
sticks out in your mind.
the one that sticks out in my mind is I was called to a home, and it was a 14-year-old young lady that called, said her mother was abusing her. Okay, when we got there, it was the mother, the father, the 14-year-old, and she had like three little siblings, right? So she answered the door. The little girl answered the door and stepped outside. The parents didn't even know that she called. She stepped outside and told her, said, "Yeah, my mom got mad at me and started punching on me for no reason. She was upset. No physical signs of abuse. That's the first thing. Even though it made the child might be abused, we look for physical signs of abuse. So I said, where are your parents at? And she really didn't want to get them involved. You know, in my mind, well, what are you called for? You know what I mean? Be honest with you. So mother and father, I knock on the door, have the mother and father step out. Hey, look, we had this call, and we're here to investigate your daughter said that she was assaulted by you, man. Right. So what you do is you split them up. There's no back and forth, right? Till you get the information. So I had my partner, zone partner, stand by with the mother and father while I talked to the girl. The young lady told me that she was in the room with her siblings and another young man who was 18. She was 14, he was 18 in there. And her mom didn't like I guess, because she said we were just sitting on the bed. So she came in and started beating on me, right? So I had her stand by with my partner, started talking to the mother and father. I talked to the mother first. She said, did she tell you what she did? Right? So she went into the scenario where they was having a cookout. Her husband's good friend, good work buddy came over with his children, and he had an 18-year-old son. Came over with his children, and they were cooking out. So later in the evening, they all in the on the patio drinking and just having fun and enjoying themselves, right? The daughter's in her room with her siblings, who were sitting on the floor, and she was sitting on the bed with the 18-year-old, right? The mom said I periodically would come in and check on her. When I came in, my little kids had their back to her and him watching TV, and he was between her legs and had her shirt off. And they were kissing. And she said, I snatched him off of her. And she said, well, Mom, what you doing? Like in defiance. And she said, officer, if you want to take me to jail, you can take me to jail. But I took my belt and I whooped her because I felt that she was in the wrong, but I wanted to kill my husband's friend. And she said, and I did everything I could to not have my husband and his friend fight each other over his friend's child. And she said, that's why I whooped her. So I called the young lady in and I said, young lady, your mother told me this. I broke it down. Your mother told me this, and she said she whooped you. I said, did she punch you? No, she beat me with her belt. And she slapped me in the face. Now, here's the interpretation part. In my mind, that mother did what a mother's supposed to do. right? Because the little girl told her and told me she wanted that. Even though she's not in, but here's the rub. When I got there, the friend and his son was gone. And they refused to tell me their names. Because she was 15 and he was 18. So I've been retired since 2019, so I'm a little rusty. She was below age and he was an adult. So it's like, look, this is wrong. You know what I mean? So they refused to tell me, but they didn't go that far. But just I needed to interview them, but they didn't tell me, right? So I asked the little young girl. I said, "Hey, is what your mother say is true?" And I told her exactly what mother. She said, "Yeah." So you gave your mother gave you a whooping then. But yeah, she can't do that. I said, "Listen, I know you hurt and all of this, but she gave you a whooping. She didn't abuse you. You know what I mean? She whooped you with a belt on your behind, right?" And I filled out the report, called investigation, told them exactly what I had. Because see, I wasn't going to just say, they came to the same conclusion that I did, that the mother did not do, it was corporal punishment. She gave her child a whooping. But I wanted to make sure that I did my due diligence. And I did. And the investigator I talked to said, yeah, she gave her a whooping. But I did my report, sent it in, covered all the bases, and that's it. Told you it was a lengthy thing, but just letting you know, I do understand the question that I asked.
It would seem to me, man, that a lot of parents for some time have been under the misconception that you can't discipline your children, man.
You can give them a whooping. You
Yeah.
cannot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You
that's
can't.
why I said that's what I mean by in accordance with state law, man.
Well, in this state,
yeah,
I don't know everywhere else, but in this state.
It's a very, very thin line between abuse and discipline.
Well,
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why I went through that whole thing when they say thin line. Matter of interpretation.
see the thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Corey,
Yeah.
but as a matter of interpretation of the person who's reporting. But go ahead, Damon.
I mean, it's so many layers to that, man.
Yes, sir.
There's so many layers to that, man. For me, first of all, he 18, a grown ass man.
Yeah. I was pissed about that, Damon. I was pissed.
Right.
And they would not tell me.
And he's 15, so first of all, if you look at it in real time in the situation, you know what I'm saying? He's taking advantage of the situation with other kids in the damn room. He got their back to him and he doing this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And what made me think about him in particular, man, is that the one thing that stands out to me is that the daughter wanted to put the mother in a position where she wanted to stand her ground on something, because I don't know if the mother whooped her in front of the 18-year-old guy. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
Did she have a chance to save face? You know what I'm saying? Could that situation be talked out, even between the mom and the daughter? Could it be talked out? But the thing that bothers me mostly is the 18-year-old's parents, and everybody involved don't even want to give up his name because they don't want him to be in trouble. But his ass shouldn't have been there in the first place, trying to take advantage of this situation. Shouldn't
have been on the bed. And look, I don't know them. I don't know who they are. They're strangers. But right. if your father, I'm not gonna say he raised them wrong, but your father, you're an 18-year-old kid. Your father gonna tell you where that cutoff is. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna teach you, like, yo, man, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Wait a
Right,
minute, man.
and there is that. And
Yeah.
by the same token, in terms of responsibility, in terms of that 18-year-old dude, man, you in a situation where that shit shouldn't be even occurring, man. You know, that was not a good situation. Not never mind the fact that this is an underage person. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, dude, you try to get in the mix and you try to
Kids.
manipulate the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, with the kids in it.
So that
Right.
brings
So he got a pass while she got her ass whooped.
yeah, that brings me that brings me to something that bothers me, man. I mean, you know, I don't know, could be a good young man, but you know, in this instance, man, he seems like an opportunist, man. You know, so what about the other children?
I get it. I mean, but you think that way because, and you and I think the same way. You know what I mean? Because of, you know, the work we, and Damon worked, it was in the same situation too. So I get that. I get it. But I think I don't get insulted if somebody, no, I take that back. I would when it's the obvious. If a kid calling me dad, whether or not he's a white kid or not, if somebody he calling me dad and he's following me and doing all these things, but because somebody want to be overly sensitive, like, yo, that dark-skinned black man, that kid don't look like him. Could be my adopted son. Oh yeah, I'm gonna take offense to that. I really am. There's no doubt about it. Especially when the kid, when the child is showing everybody in the public that he's with me or she's with me. Like I'm her uncle, her grandfather, whoever I am. You know what I mean? And of course it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard as hell. But I'm like, why do you not? You know what? There's so many great areas to that, right? That I don't think I will take the chance and say, you, is that your child? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take the chance to be embarrassed. Like, yo, it ain't none of your business. And yeah, this is my child. And then it turns out that is your child. Well, I did what I was supposed to do. Right? And so because of my law enforcement background, I just is more or less just understand why somebody would want to do it. But when somebody pursues it, even though they might hear or have the evidence that, yo, this child's with me, but you still pursue it because he might be brainwashing them.
I mean, but that's
Stockholm syndrome.
that's the reason why, you know, I take my particular stance, man, is because I'm you know, I'm just I see situations where I just be willing to weather that storm, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I you know, if I was approached, you know, somebody is, who is this child or you and all this, you know, I wouldn't begin it with hostility, but it all depends on, you know, where it went.
Of course.
You know, so.
My man said, he said, bro, this is why I only mess with cougars because all their kids is grown. You know what I mean?
I mean, my stance on that, man, is that, you know, if you come into it in a righteous way, man, in terms of innocence and responsibility and all that stuff, you helping all parties out, man, because if that 18-year-old find another 15-year-old and he doing that shit, his ass in jail, man.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? He going to jail. You know, and when you think about the situation and you know, in its entirety, man, this dude, man, was taking he was trying to do his thing without considering anything. He got a pass, and she got whooped, and the police got involved. And it's like, in the first place.
Well, I mean, hopefully his dad said something to him, man, and you could tell that the dad,
What his dad should have said to him was, "Man, you know you just dodged the bullet, right?"
yeah, that's hey Damon, that's why they weren't there when we got there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you gotta understand, it was a lot of common sense in that area because, yo, man, y'all got to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But like I said, I pursued it. But the thing about it is, all parties said nothing, or just a shirt that was unbuttoned. You know what I'm saying? So, but I put that in my report and kept it going. And I made sure the young lady was like, look, I'm not saying you're wrong for calling us, but I need you to understand that your mother's reaction to this was to whoop you because she was afraid for you, right? And she felt like you should know better. I mean, that was the best I could give it, man. You know, because like I said, I try to understand just in life, period. I try to understand as much as I can, right? As much as I can. I try to understand as much as I can. And the stuff I do, I apply. The stuff I don't, I learn so I can apply.
Well,
You
the
know?
irony is the onus was put on the 15-year-old with this old ass dude. You know, he escaped the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the only thing he escaped was jail, dog. But other than that, I don't know what else I don't know what his father did.
I'm not saying that, you know, it all depends on where you sit on the situation, man. Is that assault? Is that, you know,
She's
whatever?
14. She's 14, he 18. It is.
Okay, that's assault, man. You feel what I'm saying? It's only one place to lie on, like, you know, to fall on that situation. Now that because they're all friends, they decided not to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Which in mind gives the young man a break. You know, gives the young man a break. But the little girl, man, 14, you know, she liked the attention. You know, not even thinking about or imagining the realm that's wrong on his face, man.
I get it.
You know, that's wrong on his face, and I don't know, bro. You know,
This is a lot of murky. I mean,
for me, it's straightforward, bro. But you know, I can understand. You know, if people look at that situation and try to look at the different sides of things, and you know, try to work it out that way. But for me, it's cut and dry. To be honest.
well, look, the only people's opinion that I got was the mother and father and the daughter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The other folks involved were not there. And they were not going to give out any information for them to give up any information. This is what it is. You know what I mean? Okay. Let me ask you this. And we'll start with you, Damon, with this. Can a person hold you back spiritually? Meaning your happiness, the nutshell spiritually, your happiness, your well-being, how you see life and all this. Can they do that to you? And the second part of it is, have you ever had a villain in your story when it came to your spirituality? And I'm not talking about just the religious aspect of spirituality. I'm talking about your overall well-being and who you are.
Well, I'm gonna answer the last question first. There was a lot of times, man, where I felt that I thought I knew everything, and I had no concept or understanding of spirituality and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? That comes with experience, and that comes with understanding and learning from your mistakes and seeking out. salvation or whatever, you know. And that requires somebody to try to gain some type of maturity, man, in their maturation process. So yeah, there's been times, man, when I felt attacked. There's been times where things were heaped upon me that I didn't believe in, you know, didn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, man, that don't make any sense to me. But I was pressed to believe, well, you know, well, you got to have faith. You know what I'm saying? Where do faith come in, man? Faith comes in having confidence in the choices that you make. You know what I'm saying? If you have that mindset, that understanding about yourself, then you can lead. That leads to faith. You know what I'm saying? And trust in your choices and your you know, the judgments that you make. You know, if I'm making sense so far. But to push your agenda on somebody and say this is it. Just like the whole concept of if you don't believe you're going to hell, you got to convince me why. You understand what I'm saying? You just can't tell me that's the case or make me believe that's what it is factually. I mean, it has to. You have to make it make sense to me. If it don't make sense to me in terms of my sensibilities, you know what I'm saying? Where is the fairness or the understanding in that? It don't. You know what I'm saying? You know, the person that you're engaging, you got to make it make sense in their life and their experience. But if you're coming at the person telling them, well, you going to hell because of this and that, do this, well, yada, 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 and you're not a Christian type of person because of this, because of that, first thing they're going to think about, man, you don't know me, you don't know my life. You got to make it make sense to them. The first part of it.
But now, hold on, Damon. And you said you wanted to answer the second part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, is there a villain? Do you feel that there was a villain in your story?
Yeah, and that's what I said. I can categorize some of my experiences as people being villains, telling me I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, and speaking on me and passing judgment on me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I can put that person in that situation in a villainous situation, in a person who's trying to tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to hell because I don't believe what they're spewing or what they're talking about. But if you ain't making it make sense, if you're not making a connection with me on a personal level, then you are against me. And I didn't ask you in the first damn place.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The first, what was the first part of it?
Can somebody hold you back in your spirituality, your everyday life experience, who you are, or where you're trying to go? Can somebody hold you back from that?
It all depends on
I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about.
Yeah, it all depends on who that person is in your life and the people and the allies they got that back them up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? If you feel isolated, man, and you got people telling you that you not up to mustard, that you ain't that person, and then they got all these people behind them, you know what I'm saying? A weaker person, you know, and I use that lightly, will come to that conclusion. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
They would come to that conclusion. And that's taking advantage, man. And that's not personal.
Gotcha.
You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Jaquari.
Okay, the first question, I don't feel like I've ever been pigeonholed by anybody in that sense, man. I've always had a good sense of discernment, you know, whether I may have been a part of whatever particular movement in the beginning, but you know, subconsciously being turned off by things that happened on within that movement, things that happened within that movement. So I decided to subconsciously drift.
Gotcha.
And then, you know, and dealt with the naysayers, you know, oh man, you're making a mistake and you ain't got no loyalty and all this and all that. And, you know, a little while after I do drift, come to find out there was some things that, you know, did not align with who I was as a person that was going on, and those things were popular. Everybody's doing those things. Okay, yeah, well, that's not spoke.
Gotcha.
So the drift was a good thing. The drift was a spiritual thing. The drift was God, moving me away from that situation because he know how I move. And the second part, whether or not I've had villains in my life, when I was younger and had no experience, had no worldly experience. Yeah, I seen everybody who I thought, stood against me in some way as a villain. And I'm
Okay.
I'm quite sure I can name, particular scenarios when people were actively trying to get in my way. But with age, came the realization that, okay, even if I do perceive this person as a villain, or this person is actively trying to get in my way, it's steps that I could take to move past that. You know, I mean, just me blaming my life situation on other people, to me, it's just it was just such an impractical notion, man. You know, because I've been a part of some very some special situations, man.
Yeah.
And those situations were special in part because of me. So just realizing what I brought to the table and understanding that, even though it's different, my skill set is different or whatever, my contribution was a lot bigger at times than I perceived it to be.
Gotcha.
So whether or not this person was a villain or not, in the long run, for me, it didn't matter because uh, I've long since outgrown those people in those situations. So the only villain I have, realistically, is the one who stares back at me from the mirror. That's it.
Gotcha. I think my answer to that is no one can hold you back unless you allow them to. You know what I mean? And that is not cut and dry. Like, hey, I decided that you're not. No, I think it has a lot to do with this your disposition, who you are as a person, right? Where you're not afraid to be alone. If it's something that you feel something about, you're not afraid of it, right? And that's something you got to teach yourself because really and truly, we are a community, and we're raised as a community, we're human beings. So when you go against the community, you're seen to be an oddball. So if it's somebody who might be able to articulate your journey better than you, put it in words and all this, if you don't feel secure, now this is years of experience when I say this, if you don't feel secure in your steps, you're going to follow that person, or you're going to stop when that person tell you to stop, right? Not because that person had control over you, it's because you don't have control over your confidence. That's the best way I can put it to answer that question. Whereas people can stand in your way, but the only way that they can be an obstacle is you allow them to be an obstacle. Win, lose, or draw. You know what I mean? And I'm like this with both of you. I agree with both of y'all. There is people who I can put in the category as a villain. And villain really and truly is antagonist, villain, bad guy, semi-bad guy, someone who don't agree with you and is not making you happy because they don't agree with you. That's kind of why I formed the question the way I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But when it comes to villains, those are people who are actually trying to attack your character. Those are people who are actually trying to infiltrate. You know
This
what I'm
this
But
saying?
what
who's
this
but who?
why this why I
People with
named
opinions, man, you hear those things
you
every
can
day.
see
But,
them.
but
You can
when it
also
becomes
see
personal,
you can always see them as you can take that as being personal too, dog. This is why I named all those different things. There's different variations of it. So it's not like that I didn't want it to be villain is a just to spice the question up. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean, there's always opposing viewpoints, man.
Always,
That's the
no
reason
matter
why. It's the reason why the Nazi Party was successful. It's the reason why the Klan was successful. Are they villains? In your opinion,
yes,
they're absolutely villains. But to their people, are they villains?
because they were convinced what? They were convinced out of fear that something that they never owned, this is my opinion, they never had was going to be taken away from them.
Yeah, but
That's what it was.
but
You know what I mean?
but that notion supplies agenda.
That's real.
Now, if you're on the other side of that agenda, those notions supply your agenda, right? I
I mean,
mean, it's
it is. Yeah.
who's the villain, Batman or the Joker? I mean,
I get it.
the Joker's done some terrible shit, very terrible shit, but the Batman is always attacking him.
See, first of all, there's a good point, but I'm gonna call a little BS on that. The
No,
Joker
no,
he was a homicidal maniac. Period. Not because
no.
a Batman attacked him. No,
How many? How many?
no,
How
no,
many?
man.
Look, how many investigations do you see where can you remember where the Batman's just sitting around the Batcave and then he had just punched something up on the computer or whatever, just looking for the Joker, just fucking with the Joker. You might not have heard from the Joker for I don't know how long.
But why does he look for
because
the Joker?
because he understands the Joker need to be off the streets.
No.
Well, I
How
mean,
many?
yeah, I mean the analogy is
Hold on.
the analogy is questionable. Yeah, I'll give you that.
The Joker is a serial killer. This is comic book stuff, but
Mhm.
he's a serial killer in mass. In mass.
Absolutely in mass, absolutely in mass. But
Like,
but
man, of
he
course.
did he
Hey,
didn't
look.
he didn't start that way.
Hey, look.
No,
I
of course
saw.
he didn't start that way, but he went over to the other side, bro. And when he went to the other side, chaos and mayhem, man, and
That's
death
it.
and destruction.
That's it.
Okay, man. Yeah, like I
Hey,
said, the analogy was a stretch, but you got
the funny thing. I saw a comedian. Y'all might have seen this, but this tickled me. It was this black comedian, and they was just talking about villains. I believe. I'm just paraphrasing the conversation, and he said, "And I hate Batman." Right? And these was comic book heads, and they was like, "Well, why you hate Batman?" He said, "Batman got millions of dollars, and he has all this high tech equipment, but he always go after the poor black people, the poor people. He don't go after anybody else but them."
yeah.
He said you know what I'm saying? He no matter of fact, the joke was he called Batman a big racist
That
because he only went after poor people.
Bruce Wayne has the financial resources to end all of Gotham City's problems. Period.
Yeah.
But what does he do? He's an asshole. He's an ass. What does he do?
What?
Come on.
Damn, he watched his parents get murdered in front of him, man. So
And
he
that's
So
why
gonna
his,
be,
so
that's
you,
so
you,
so,
you
that's,
you and
that's
that
why
was
so,
in
he's
the
so
an
alley.
asshole.
That
but
was in
hold
the
on.
alley. So he's street level with that, man.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Did I
He
set myself
started.
up, bro?
No, no, not at all. He started doing what he's doing out of it was born from trauma. The
Yeah.
exact same thing could be said for the Joker. The exact same thing could be said for the Joker.
But you know what bothered me about that, and when we talk about comics, then we're gonna move on, is the fact that they never really stuck to the Joker's origin story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they finally did it though.
They did, but they said the Joker became the Joker because Batman threw him in the vat of is it acid?
Yeah.
Some green shit.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's just do this. I was going to say let's get serious, but hell, we've been serious. But this is good conversation, guys. I appreciate you guys. But we talked about it a little bit about it last night, and I told you I was going to bring it up today. I saw in the news that Tennessee passed a bill in which teachers can carry firearms in the school. Right? Jaquari, what is your opinion about that?
I mean, it's so many. It's. I mean, it's that's a situation with so many caveats, man. I mean, like we were discussing yesterday. I mean, first of all, you have training. You have adequate training. Okay, now you for a person, for a teacher who's had rudimentary regular firearms training or whatever, to be entrusted with that responsibility of having access to firearms in schools, knowing what to do with those firearms or whatever. I mean, that's kind of far fetched for me, but and through my explanations, you might think that I might lean more towards not arming teachers or whatever, but I kind of fall in the middle. I mean, because people are going and targeting schools and killing children. It's happening. And for some reason, the greatest country that's ever existed, we can't figure out a way to nip that shit in the bud without violence. So does there need to be an armed presence in schools outside of the school resource officers? I mean, it's a notion that I'm absolutely willing to do, absolutely willing to toy with. Yeah, but the training's got to be immaculate. Uh, access to the actual firearms has got that's got to be up to code. And another thing, man, is what kind of personalities is a teaching business gonna start attracting? I mean, yeah, it's like it just seems like the gung ho nature of people, man. Americans, the gung ho nature of Americans would play heavy into those scenarios, man, in the future. But ultimately, like I said, man, I fall on both. I fall on both sides of the situation, man. But there's got to be tons and tons and years of research and development, to get it perfected and all the bugs worked out, man.
Okay. Damon, what about you?
Definitely, the bugs need to be worked out, man. And I'm hearing that part of where you say, well, what type of people is going to attract. It's going to attract people on the emotional level because you're dealing with babies, man. You know what I'm saying? And babies being slaughtered in schools by lunatics. So it's going to attract people who want to be involved on that emotional level. And what I think I'm hearing from you, bro, is that when you're dealing with things on the emotional level, is that a safe environment? You know what I'm saying? Because if it's an emotional thing, people will react, man.
Yeah, I mean, but when emotions get high, man, and bullets start flying, emotions are canceled out. That's number one. I mean, and number two, how do you instill in the fact? How do you instill in these people that uh, you're there to protect and not to engage? Because engaging in some of those scenarios, man, is going to get more children killed.
But the thing about it is, and we talked about. Go ahead and finish your point, Damon. Then I'm.
No, you go ahead because this is your area, but this
Okay.
area because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to understand. Because I'm all about self-preservation and protecting. What's in my in my vicinity.
See, that's
So,
before you go, Keith. That's the thing, though. I mean, as wild as it may sound, man, self preservation might be attacking your foot, because if there, God forbid, there is an active shooter situation in the school, we don't need civilians going and running, chasing after these people.
now that's the thing I needed to comment on, because see, what makes sense is this. First and foremost, if you're going to arm teachers, you mentioned it before, Jaquari, where it has to be training through the same training as law enforcement receives, as far as firearms training, understanding the whole nine, and having classes at least once every 2 months, or once a month or something like that, just because they're on the civilian level, to help them understand. But what bothers me is when you throw the information out there and you don't really throw the information out there. No one is asking these teachers to go out here and have a damn posse. That is ludicrous. First and foremost, what you do is, this is just me, because I was a school resource officer before I retired. What makes sense is, if you were to have an armed teacher, that teacher is armed in the class. There are protocols that you follow. You lock the door. The same thing that you do. You lock the door. You turn off the lights. You put the children in a isolated corner to be safe, right? You unlock the lock box, and you put yourself in a defensive position by the door with a radio, and you wait. The job of the school resource officers, policemen, and sheriff deputies of that school is to run toward the fire. That's what they do. In the meantime, before they run toward the fire, I have an active shooter on campus. He is in this part of the building. It is one male, or if you have all the information that you have, you put it over that radio, because your communicator is going to relay it. And they're going to send out something down here where every officer at every municipality available, get to the school. And as they arrive in groups, they will go into the school to clear the school. They will run toward, along with the initial deputies that's in the school, they will run toward the gunfire, because that's what law enforcement is there for. Teachers should not be outside of that classroom. They should have their class locked away, because the one thing that is life of the children and the staff of that school. So the best thing to do is lock the door. So if you arm the teachers and the principals, they will be hunkered down with the lights cut off in a defensive position, looking at that door. And they should have something in place, a protocol in place, where either you're going to come over the intercom, the principal, or come over a radio that's supplied for every classroom, and let them know the different code yellow, it's code red, it's code yellow, and it's code green. You see what I'm saying? I'm just throwing that out as an example. So when you get the green, that means everything is everything. Decock your shit and put it back in the lockbox. You understand what I'm saying? When everything is squared away.
But people that support that teachers having guns, what do you think their motivation is? You think their motivation is for them to engage the shooter?
No. Engage the shooter when they coming in there. Yes, to protect because you know what they teach now? They teach now is they teach the kids, they teach the teachers. If you got something heavy and you're close to save your life, you bash that motherfucker upside his head. They're teaching that now. So understand, to save lives, you would be in a better position especially if you had the deputies, because they're out there in the middle of whatever was going on. You are where you need to be. And these dudes don't know that they don't know that hot bullets burn. But as soon as they step into that doorway, especially when you know he's a threat, you know he's coming in what do? You do that. You fill that whole doorway up. You fill it up.
So it wouldn't do me no good if I see him walking by my class when I bust out the door to ah! It's not busting shots at his ass.
Hey, look, you would be a hero, but what if you miss? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's that. Look, that brings me to another point, man. I mean, aren't law enforcement officials accountable for where each and every one of their rounds go?
When you look, when you get trained in firearm proficiency, that's the first thing they tell you.
So that's another responsibility that we're going to put on teachers. Shot placement.
I told y'all last night that I lay on both sides with it, in the sense that you don't want anybody to be reckless, right? But the likelihood that a lot of lives is going to be saved, to me, outweighs all of that.
I absolutely agree with you. And the reason why I ask, what people would probably perceive to be negative questions, man, is because these questions need to be asked.
They do.
There's in these scenarios, man, there's no such thing as a ridiculous what if. You got to have a contingency for everything. These are children. These are children we're talking about. But, I guess we'll see. I guess Tennessee is going to be the.
Didn't Georgia do it too, or was it Texas?
I have no idea. I mean, because the majority of states, there's a lot of open carry states, but you still cannot carry on school grounds. So I don't know.
United States is always the proving ground, honey.
Then you got to consider, man. You got to if you're gonna have a firearm in a lockbox in a classroom, you got to consider aggressive kids.
But see, that's the thing about it is, you have to put it in the way where these kids will not know that they're there, unless there is a situation where it has to be shown. You understand what I'm saying, T? It can't be obvious. Because, the majority of kids, what do the majority of kids do? They just come in the classroom and they sit there. And the only thing they understand is that cute girl or guy to their left, cute girl or guy to their right, and whether or not they're going to get a C or D on their test. You know what I'm saying?
But then what if you got Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. Such and such having a bad day? And they see a little time and get up one more time, I'm going to pop that motherfucker.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
see, that's the extreme. That's the greatest fear.
That's the extreme. But
hold on.
It absolutely needs to be considered, man.
So tell me if y'all hear my cry on this. Jaquar, you're talking about the extreme of what could happen, right?
Is it extreme?
Yes, it is.
In the state of Virginia, there's been a kindergartner. There was a kindergartner who took a pistol to school and shot the teacher.
I get that, and that's still an extreme because that's a kindergartner.
Yeah, but it happened.
No, and I'm not minimizing, so please don't get me wrong. When
You
I say
talking
that.
about in the realm of possibility, bro.
I'm just talking
Mhm.
about. I'm just talking about the fact that, and I wanted to comment on. You said the extreme. Think about what's going on, where there's a whole new porn business with young lady teachers and their students. You said the teaching that would attract a certain situation.
Mhm.
Now I'm reaching, you know what I'm saying? But my point is, how many teachers come to teach so they can be in that situation? You see what I'm saying?
You're always gonna have your bad apples, man. But and
Exactly.
this is a situation, man, where
That's my point.
you have to weed them out. You have to.
I don't know how, because you can't weed them out in law enforcement, bro. You can't weed them out in military. You cannot weed these people. It's the obvious dudes where, you know, they got bubbles popping around their eyes and shit where you know that dude is a Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? He's a walking cartoon. So he don't need no firearm. You feel what I'm saying? But there's other ones that walk around that make you feel like, you know, male and female make you feel like they got it together. And this is no disparagement on anybody, but just I'm giving an example. And they get home, they sleeping with their pistol in their hand. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And they dreaming about some crazy engagement because they want to be heroes.
If somebody jump out on me like this here,
Hmm.
this how I'ma handle it.
Yeah, yeah.
And even thinking about the collateral damage and shit.
It ain't ever. Look, it is so hard, man. You know, I've always been the advocate when it comes to firearms. I don't think, and I'm not trying to be starting no controversy. It is not enough people in our community who have firearms in their homes. It's not enough.
Legally
Yeah,
licensed.
exactly.
Yeah, that's the
Exactly.
caveat right there.
Yeah,
Legal.
it's not enough. Of course, you don't want to use them, but what do they say? It's better to have it than not have it. It's what it is.
Let me ask you this, Keith. Do law enforcement, man, is their advice is for people not to have guns in their home?
No, man.
Based on your personal experience in law enforcement
No, man.
and yours as people who come through the system,
I'm in the South, man. I'm in the South. Kids grow up hunting. Kids grow up with firearms in their house in the South, in the North too, but it's more prevalent here because, you know, there's farmers, there's all these different situations going on. So that's a normal thing. See,
when I
that
talk to
I think is normal.
some ex police officers and stuff like that, where they say, you know, they advise their families not to even have guns in their home.
Wow.
I I can see why they wouldn't because they
Because the owner always get killed by the gun that they own.
they be well. It is. I mean, that's a personal preference when somebody say that. I'm saying it like this: if you got to deal with violence every day, it's two situations that both knee jerk. The first knee jerk is you got to vault, right? And I say it's knee jerk because when it comes to people who are naive, that's a knee jerk reaction, right? And then the second knee jerk is you don't have nothing in your house and you know the world is violent. You see what I'm saying? There's got to be an in between, you know? And I'm not saying either way is bad. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, in my experience, those are knee jerk reactions. Not to have it at all, right? And to have you burying, I had a partner, which is crazy. This is when remember when Bill Clinton started trying to ban, he did banning assault rifles and all this stuff, you know, and they got the workaround, but banning assault rifles and all this, right? My partner and his dad were Pittsburgh policemen, right? They buried their vaults in the backyard, filled with their guns, with the automatic weapons, filled with them. You are not going to step on my constitutional rights. You're not going. I said, good dude too. I looked at him and said, I ain't even gonna say his name, but I'm like, bro, what the fuck is it gonna do with you? Gonna do for you buried in the backyard? What is going on? It's rusting. What? Tell me, because he actually did it. That's what I'm talking about. Knee jerk. It didn't make sense.
Yeah, and I've always been in a foggy place about air quotes assault rifles, because yeah, you have high capacity magazines and everything, and they're designed to excuse me, they're designed to create as much death and mayhem as possible, man. But I think it all boils down to the end user and that person's experience,
Always does, dog.
With that particular weapon or whatever, man. I mean, because hell, it happened in the hood every day. I mean, we can go to whatever urban part of the country you want to go to, unfortunately, and people are using assault rifles or whatever, and people are dying, but nowhere, not on the scale that the people who want to ban assault rifles per se would say that this shit is happening. And all death is all gun violence is bad. Don't get me wrong. But it's like it's like if you live on a mountain, right, and there's bears in the area. Are you going to go out and actively exterminate all the bears, or are you just going to figure out a way to live with the bears?
I'm gonna go down the middle. If I can put up a big ass fence so those bears don't come on my yard and try to eat me when they get the taste of human flesh, I can live with them because they're outside of my perimeter. But if they come in to hunt me, I have to. This is self-preservation where I'm speaking from, because I wouldn't move on a damn mountain when I know it's bears, and bears like eating dark meat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do it.
You would if you was trying to get away from the niggers.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
I mean, look. Hey,
no. First of all,
are you telling me it ain't been done? You telling me somebody ain't thought about it?
This is my point, though. People who do that, who do the doomsday shelters and do all these different things, seldom have any interaction with black folks
at all.
They drink the fucking Kool-Aid. Is what they do. Yeah. All right.
And I know you was being funny.
I know you was being funny, and the shit was funny. But I had to throw that in there, man.
Here's where I lie on it, man. Real talk, man. I'm going to do what's necessary to keep my family safe, but I'm also going to pray that I don't have to be put in that position where I have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because either way it goes, keeping your family safe is going to cause your family trauma anyway. If an assailant come in trying to do harm to your family, So for me, it's to be able to skate and fly under the radar and be safe in your home and in your neighborhood and all that stuff. And that is the answer for me. But it doesn't. But I'm going to be prepared for whatever might come. Your imagination can take you wherever the hell that takes you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, proper preparation prevents poor performance, bro. Doesn't matter where it came from. It rings true.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being ready for something, right? But when you get to the point where it takes away, especially if you're not in it. See, this is my thing. If you're not in it, of course, prepare.
And you got 1,000 rounds and shit.
Yeah, yeah. And,
And
look,
you ain't nowhere near the fray.
but here's the thing. I agree with you, Damon, but I'm not counting 8 fucking rounds. You know what I'm saying? Because really and truly, what's so funny about it is us and other people who grew up in those situations who were blessed enough to make it out. When we're in the middle of it, of course, it was that little side note like, man, I got to get the fuck out of here. Right?
I can't live like
But
that.
But you get up every day, you walk them same walks, you do everything you can to make things good. So once you get that blessing to walk out, you walk out. But you live through it every day. You know what I'm saying? So that was me. Like, I laugh about it, understanding whatever the three of us went through as children. The thing about it is, what makes us the men we are today, in understanding that life be lifing all the time, man.
Right. I was about to say now how we
Yeah,
grew up. We know that shit come to your goddamn doorstep.
exactly.
You know. So.
But nobody wants to throw that out there so you can validate me. Oh, they went through it. No, sir. Look at me right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at me right now. Look how I carry myself now. You don't need to know my resume to know that I'm carrying myself a particular way.
There's a way to navigate the bullshit, man, if you have an awareness, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, shit come to your doorstep, man, and you got the blood stains to remind you.
It is what it is, man. And I don't mean that to downplay it, but it's like, yo, I get it. I get it. But why does it make you not want to live?
Exactly.
That's all.
Or get away from the situation, you know, as best you can.
Yes, sir. I mean,
I think black people in particular, man, you know, when they do position themselves and they are able to lead a hood or whatever, they deal with what they call it, survivor's guilt and shit.
remorse.
Survivor's remorse.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's a thing, man. It's a thing.
You believe
Because
that?
but hold on.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Let me say this. I think it's a thing when you worried about what other people think. When you're not worried about what other people think, you appreciate the journey that you went through, and then you move on. This is what I think. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but even that, I mean, if you're a person who's not worried about what other people think, I mean that puts you in a whole entirely different category, man. Because to me, that says that, you know, I'm self-sufficient to a high degree. Because I mean, you know, potential employment, your social situations or whatever. I mean, it could affect it.
So, all right, just to give you an idea of what I'm saying is, this on a small level. You walk out your door, you got your freshest lion joint, like some vintage Detroit Lion shit, like bow, right? You in DC, you in Commander territory, right? You in Raven territory.
It
You
better
walk
not
out there, you
better not
got
look
on you got on your Nike Tech and you got on your damn Converse canvas sneakers, and you know Ja'Cory Armstrong is balling, right? Then a motherfucker walk up to you like Detroit Lions. What? And then, well, who? You're not a Commanders fan? No. That's my point. It's like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's different degrees of it, but what people think don't matter the majority of the time.
But see, that's the thing, though. That's not fair. It's not fair to me because a Commanders fan or a Ravens fan, if I'm wearing my Lions fits, you better not even look me in the eye, motherfucker.
They might as well sit their ass down.
You
Yeah.
said recently, huh?
Yeah,
No.
like, what the fuck?
I gotta
All
give
the
it.
time.
I gotta
All
give
the
the Ravens. No, I gotta give the Ravens. They do because they kicked our ass last year.
They did. But I always look.
Yeah, we lost to Chicago. I mean, and
Look, I always stood on the lines of the Pistons. Didn't matter how they was doing or where I was. Always stood on.
I think more in lines of, you know, when the new Jordans come out, you know, in the past and throughout the years, you know what I'm saying? Cats was losing their lives and getting did in over the sneakers. You feel me? And that's a universal thing. You know, that's a real danger. You bust out with a damn Lions joint on and shit. People gonna be like, look at this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get challenged on that.
So no.
Yo,
hear me now, believe me later on. That's that kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna tell you what though, man. As far back as I can remember, when dudes first started dying over materials like that, man, it was the Max Julian coach.
Uh-huh.
Now it might have been something else before that, you know, I was just too young to pay attention to.
You went way back on that, bro.
But that was the first time I ever heard somebody get murdered over their own shit.
When I was in college, it was the Cazell glasses, the Cazelles, and now what is the actual name? The Cartiers, the Buffs from the crib, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Look, my kids. They say, well, you ain't from Michigan. You ain't got no buff. No, I don't wear that gaudy pimp bullshit. No.
Hey, look.
Yo, translation was I ain't been able to find them at the flea market.
Hey, you ain't been down to the market, man, and you know,
yeah. Because when I find them, when I find them some bitches, I'm gonna have all the colors.
You gonna have them. Hey, walk around talking about what up, though.
Yeah, what up, though. Look, after BMX,
because we rep our spot, man. We rep our spot, bro.
Look, before BM, you talking about the show?
Mm-hmm.
No, before
when everybody
BM,
was exposed, when everybody got.
No, you talking about people in the country because you know back in the crib, they was killing each other over them buffs constantly. Yes, sir. But see, here's my thing. I think they some nice joints, but yo, to lose your life over them shits, man, stop playing. Come on, man. Come on.
No, man.
No, man. Hey, yo, and we speaking on the streams, but it is what it is, though, bro. You know? Yeah.
But no, I think, man, real talk, man, back to the original point, I think, man, that it is incumbent upon any man, woman, no matter what color they are, is to have to arm themselves in their home. You're not taking that shit outside of your home. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
It's your crib, man, to protect your loved ones, man, you know, from any type of harm or danger. I think people are righteous in that aspect. Marching down the goddamn street with an AR or AK, talking about you want to protect businesses, that's something totally different.
Exactly. Looking for excuses to shoot somebody. If you do that shit and they not paying you to do it, you looking for excuse to shoot
that is exactly the mindset, man. I don't give a damn what you say.
And then this is 30 years of law enforcement. I'm telling you that's what you're looking for because it's not making any other sense than that. You ain't inside no freaking movie, man. Stop that.
For the majority of the population, an AR-15 is a deterrent. But there's a small number of people who see that shit as a challenge issue.
I get it.
Look here, man. Them damn ARs and them brothers travel, bro. You can't contain them joints, man.
No. You can't contain none of it though, man.
Them joints travel, bro.
You just can't.
A
You
long
can't
way.
none of it.
You know, like Jacory mentioned earlier, man, you have to be responsible for each shot you bust off. You got an AR or one of them type of weapons, man. Them joints, man, they be traveling. How many miles them joints go, man? You know,
Look,
and you affecting lives, man, that ain't even in the area. You know what I'm saying?
look, a regular 22 travels 1,000 miles, 1,000 miles an hour. You understand what I'm saying? So the higher the caliber, the further it goes.
Man.
All right, we're gonna bring this on home. But go ahead, Jaquari.
No, I was just gonna say it's the wildest shit, man. That the majority of firearms are designed and manufactured to be used against people. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah. That's why they were invented.
That's the wildest. That's the wildest shit. They was invented so a motherfucker could shoot him a buffalo or a bear to eat.
No, listen. Long guns were invented. No, pistols were invented for men. Period. And they were the first thing to be developed.
You tell me they were the equalizer.
The wildest shit, boy. Yeah.
It's what it is. Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna bring this. This is the last question of the day, and just to change it up just a little bit. What is the advice? Now, Jaquari, Damon, one of your daughters are married, Damon. Your daughter is married, Jaquari. Dating advice. What was the dating advice that you gave your children when they were growing up?
Well, first and foremost, I emphasize to my daughter, man, that if anything about this situation makes you uncomfortable, then you need to figure, you need to start making your way out of it. That's first and foremost. And secondly, not to sound vulgar, but I told her don't do nothing to nobody that they ain't done to you. That covers everything. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Teach people how you want to be treated. Take that time and be attentive to that.
Yeah.
And accept that same thing, coming your way. If things don't align, then be mature enough to make the correct decision. That's it.
Damon.
I feel the same way, man. Listen, what makes you feel bad. You know what makes you feel disrespected. You know what I'm saying? You have every right to say, I'm not dealing with this situation because I don't feel respected in it. You know what I'm saying? And you don't deviate from that.
Yeah.
You don't deviate from that because at the end of the day, in the long run, that's the one thing that you're going to remember.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing that you're going to have to come to a resolution about. I'm not going to let this man disrespect me, my character, who I am as a human being. I'm not going to allow that to happen. And I'm going to stand my ground. And I think what most young ladies don't realize is that's what casts respect, man.
That's real.
That's what they respect, because 5-10 years down the line, they come out, man, you remember what I was trying to get with you, whatever. I always thought about you because you held your ground and you was this, and I came to realize that's the type of woman I want in my life. But it all stems and begins from what Jacory talking about. It's about self-respect. You know what I'm saying? It's about what you're willing to take and put up with. Because people gonna push the envelope, man, if they feel like they can, and that's just out of insecurity alone, man. So we are people, man, who have to come to an understanding that if we don't respect ourselves, nobody is. You know what I'm saying? That's why around the globe, nobody respects us, man, because we prop ourselves up as pimps. Pimp is the worst so-called occupation in the world, man, because
They prop us up as pimps, but go ahead. I had to
right.
disagree with you a little bit. They do.
What I'm saying though, you got cats that's sitting around trying to, you know, make that something of some type of value or status, you know, some type of value or status. And it always falls on us. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I've never respected somebody say, well, I'm a pimp. Dude, what are you bringing to the table? You ain't selling nothing. You ain't doing nothing but running your mouth. You
Yeah.
ain't got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So when it comes to product and demand and all that stuff, you don't even factor in the equation because you have nothing to contribute to it but running your mouth or taking advantage of somebody who don't have the mental capacity to deal with you.
Yeah.
You know, so you a parasite. I didn't mean to go off into that, go off in the weeds with that, but
No. You good. You good.
but what I'm saying is when you speak on speak to Corey and you speak to me, you talking about your nieces. You feel me?
Yeah.
That is something that we all as a village need to have an awareness about, man. You know, doesn't mean that they're gonna always follow your lead or they're gonna always take your advice, man. But you don't have to do nothing but be there when the fall happens.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying? See, that's what
Yeah.
people don't understand. See, we have this mentality that, man, you learn from other people's mistakes and this and that, and yada yada yada. But here we all done fell from grace at some time, bro. All
That's
of us,
that's the truth.
you know. And what did we need? What did we need when it came to bear and we had the awareness of it? We needed a support system. You know what I'm saying? In order to come back to the fold. You feel what I'm saying? Somebody to say, hey man, you ain't the end of the world, man. You can live through that.
Okay.
It's what you do moving forward. You know what I'm saying? It's
Oh,
going to the
well,
type
let
of
me ask
man
you this.
you are
Let me ask
or
you this.
woman.
You have young ladies and a young man. What advice did you give your son when it comes to dating?
When it came to my son, man, I understand his character and who he is and what type of man that he's formulating, he's trying to be. And I just asked him to be himself, man. I said, man, trust who you are, be yourself, and live that life. And whatever comes, and whatever lesson you had to learn in that process, that's your purpose, man. And that's nobody else's. You know what I'm saying? Just don't put yourself in a position where you have to cross a line that you can't come back from. You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
Just don't put yourself in that position. But in everyday life, man, when you had to learn learn a lesson in your own personal life experiences, that's meant to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's where wisdom falls into place.
No doubt.
So to answer your question, bro, I just told him to be himself and trust and love who he is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And don't deviate from that, man, because that's one of the biggest evils in the world, telling you that you ain't who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that don't involve nobody else. That's personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you make decisions based on that personal experience as you move forward in life, man, as you try to navigate.
Okay.
That was my advice.
I got two boys, and this is leaning toward the lighter side of it because, and Damon, you can relate when it comes to raising boys, they watch you. They may
Yeah.
be, sometimes they kind of, it's two ways that they listen to you. They listen to everything that you say and take it as gospel, right? Or they're contrary to what you're saying. They know that you're saying that you're talking the truth, but they're debating you on it, right? So when it come to my boys, well, men, but when it comes to them, what I did was lighter side. My oldest son, he was always quiet, very outgoing person, but always quiet. But I saw him always looking at them little Spanish girls in his side eye. You know what I mean? With a nice little smirk on his face. And you know, I was selfish when I was a youngin', and I said, "Hey, son, so you kind of like them little Spanish girls, huh?" He said, "Yeah, Dad, I do." I said, "But bro, what's wrong with the little brown skinned women with the round butts, man? Come on, bro." You know what I'm saying? I said, "Bro," and he knew I was joking with him, but I'm saying to him, "But what about those women, man? At least give them a chance. Give them a chance, brother." You know what I'm saying? See, and that's the way, because what I understood about them is they're not me. Like, my attraction came from
That's pivotal. That's key, man. Straight up.
my attraction came from a woman that reminded me of our mom.
Yep.
And I'm talking about in personality, right? Also in stature too. But you know, when I was growing up,
I'm almost 6'1".
tall, dark-skinned women did not like tall men. I don't know. That's the weirdest shit.
I never got that. I never got that. As much
Bro.
as much as I love tall, dark skinned women, man, I never had success with it, man.
Because for some reason that's what it is, and I think it's the conditioning. But I had a small window, so I'm not gonna say that was everywhere. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I was doing, like my youngest Carson. Oh, he quiet with his. He don't want me to know nothing, right? But I pay attention to him, and he's on that same course as Keith. You know what I mean? He likes the Spanish exotic looking women. Nothing wrong with it. But I also say, pay attention to who loves you. You feel what I'm saying? Pay attention who loves you, who's giving you love. You know what I'm saying? So I told my boys I love their mom because her personality reminds me a lot of their grandma. You know? So I always threw in personality, character, of course, good looks, whatever. But yo, they get mad at me if I'll be like, yo, she got a fat old ass. What you talking about, Dad? What you say? And I start laughing because I know, they protective of their mom like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, bro. You don't even know the half of it, man.
And I respect it. I respect it though. That's what I'm saying.
Being out somewhere with your kids, man, and they see a woman, showing a little interest, man. That's a sticky place.
My son, man, he ain't trying to hear none of that shit.
No doubt.
At all. He like, if he see me looking, he gonna be like, man, that's disrespectful, man. What the hell you doing? I said, man, your mama ain't around, and I ain't said shit. I'm just looking. You all in my business. I ain't say nothing. He's like, Dad, don't do that shit around me, man. I don't.
I'll tell you, the funny shit is Keith. Keith may have been still in high school, and we was going through the McDonald's line, right? And we had just coming from the barber shop, so my shit is like world. You know what I mean?
He was in a good place.
Yeah, a real good place. So I pay, and this happened so unintentional. I paid for our meal, and the little girl, she probably been in her early 20s, gave up an extra smile. Now I'm thinking she giving it to Keith, but Keith's interpretation, she was giving it to me, right?
Right.
So we moving forward, and he got a scowl on his face, right? I look at him like,
Been
"The
there,
hell's wrong
bro.
with you?" And I said, and this is exactly what I said to him. I said, "Bro, you see how she was looking at you? She wasn't looking at me. She wasn't looking at me."
Been there, bro.
He said, "Be careful, man." I'm like, "Wow." I said,
He
"Bro,
said,
Man, bro.
it
I
was
don't want
funny
to
to
cut
me.
man.
That was hilarious, man."
I'm in a situation, man, with this chick all on this little young girl, all on my son, right? All on him. And we leave the situation. And he like, yeah, Dad, how often you talk to her? She was awfully friendly with you and shit, and this and that and that. Now at the time, I'm probably about 56 years old and shit. And she his age. And I said, hey man.
yeah. I mean,
I said, hey man, what are you talking about? Man, she was awfully friendly. I said, it's because she was trying to get your attention, man. I'm an old ass man, dude.
Yeah.
She was not looking at me in any way. Well, Dad, I'm not comfortable with that. I said, oh my God, dude, you missed the damn what do you call it, man? When girls be flirting and shit with you.
shit, just that.
Opening.
I said, dude, you ain't see that?
But look, let
And
me
because you uncomfortable or you missed it, you want to blame me for this shit. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
dude, I'm the dad.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That reminds me of the time I told y'all I was at that training, and it's a bunch of young
Yeah, I
girls,
remember that.
bunch of young girls in this business, man, doing great things, man. But
Yeah.
I was at a training and I was partnered up. She, brown skinned girl, pretty girl, real pretty girl, nice body and everything. And we talking and getting along famously or whatever, and trainings like that, man. I'll always bring snacks or candy or something. So I'm feeding her snacks and we having conversation and all that. And before she left, she's like, she told me, you make me feel so comfortable, and the confidence in my chest, just rose and everything. And she was like, you just feel good. I feel safe around you. And then she said, you remind me of my pop. I said,
Oh, your grandfather.
your granddaddy, baby.
Oh,
But that's true. Not
I said,
granddaddy. That's extreme.
Yeah, I'm like, your granddaddy.
That's extreme.
You mean like your uncle or a good friend of the family, right?
Look. Give me that candy back.
Not your granddaddy, motherfucker. I'll tell you what.
Hey, but let me answer this real quick. The question real quick. The advice I gave my sons, it always came to them. How do you feel about who you are as a human being? I said, because that is the most important thing in any relationship is who are you to you? And I said, because to me, it became easier when I found that I started to love myself. So other relationships became so easy when I started loving me. Because when you love you, when some dumb shit come down the line, you be like, beep, not fucking with you.
Look at this stating the obvious. I'm with my son, and females is pushing up on this dude, man. And me and my wife are like, check him out, man. You know what I'm saying? He walk out the joint. I'm like, I'm confused. I'm like, dude, you ain't get the you ain't get the message, man. Did you see that or did you feel it? I mean, I understand that where his head wasn't at, but dude, you 6'4", man. Since 4.5, dude.
Uh-huh.
No, people ain't got no other goddamn choice but to pay attention to your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's really and truly, and it sounds so simple when you hear it. But we as human beings, because of the conditioning we get raised in, and we do not know how to love who we are. That's my personal opinion.
Because you're on the
'Cause-
defense or wherever your
Yeah.
mind might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're always put in these seemingly win-lose situations.
Yep.
Yep. That's exactly
You
the
know,
case. You're right, bro.
I'm
You're
gonna tell
right.
you the best thing that ever happened to me was when I was able to say no. No. In across my whole gambit, my whole life, to say no. And really and truly understand what the word no meant to me. Because it's not associated with no guilt. No is not associated with no guilt. You feel me? It's not, because what's going on is you understand who you are as a human being, and you just keep going. You keep being. You become who you are and stay who you are. You feel me? Because honestly, hopefully you have a partner who's secure in who they are, and y'all build off that union.
Everybody, man, is insecure in some type of way, man.
Of course.
Everybody else. The thing that makes it matter most, man, is that person that you're with, or a person that gives a shit about you, saying, to let you know that they wasn't laughing at you because it was clowning you. They was giggling because they was being silly. You know what I'm saying? Because they are attracted to you in some type of way. It's incumbent upon you to recognize that you hold that type of stature in the world. You know what I'm saying? And that makes you matter.
Yeah.
That makes you matter. You know what I'm saying? And that is individualized. You know, and it doesn't coincide with the whole big picture. And that's the thing that these young people struggle with today, man, with this social media type of stuff or whatever. If you see some stuff in social media that has something to do with some type of experience you have, you identify that shit and make that shit part of who you are. No, that's just a blanket thing, or a blanket opinion that people might have in general, but it does not coincide with who you are as a person. You know what I'm saying?
You just
Like,
you recognize a part of who you are. That's
right.
it. Just recognize that shit and move the fuck on.
If you are able to understand, like Keith said earlier, being comfortable in yourself, then you are able to see those little things, and in the nuances of somebody being attracted to you in some type of way,
Yeah.
or admire how you carry yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that is what life is really about. Understanding that you as an individual person matter. All that other shit doesn't matter. Because it doesn't do it. You know, say everybody is perpetrating the fraud in that shit, man.
That's real.
Everybody's perpetrating that fraud in that. Hey, man, you always see the shortest motherfuckers, even though that short motherfucker might have a big heart, because he has no other alternative. He's speaking the loudest. You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad because they feel comfortable in that vein. I can't be mad about that. You know what I'm saying? But at least they have an awareness to understand that they are gaining some type of attention in the positive way, that they matter and they are being seen. You know what I'm saying? They're being paid attention to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. Before I was married, my awareness came, man, when I was dealing with this particular young lady, and I put her up on a pedestal. She was fine. She, had a really good personality and everything. And for some reason, I seen her as unattainable. But when I got her, she was sitting on her own boatload of deficiencies or whatever, and she wasn't the person I thought she was. The image that I had constructed from afar,
That's real.
it didn't match up. You know, and I figured out that, you know, in the world of dating, in the realm of relationships and shit, I was a lot more advanced than she was. You know, and with that awareness, you know, that shit, that it gave me room, man. It gave me room to, you know, to make a decision.
I think, man, the biggest mistake people make is that if you see somebody, man, that you are infatuated with, in a lesser sense, you're infatuated with, and you try to gain attention from that person. What is your goal, man? Is your goal is to obtain the attention from that person based on their popularity, and you are the one that you know got the most attention? You know what I'm saying? Or do you pay attention to that person, man, based on how they make you feel comfortable within yourself? You know, and moving forward, you're only dealing with your own personal experience. Oh, you know, this person made me feel this way. That means that without animus and all that shit, that what that means is that that person recognized something about you that they were attracted to. You know what I'm saying? And the evil is the thing, man, that convince you that what they're telling you, what they're attracted to, is not meaningful. It don't mean anything. But isn't it always personal, man? I mean, moving forward, isn't it always personal, man? In how you respond to it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about in the personal way. Hey, man, you tall and bow-legged, man. You walk funny.
Look at him. Look at him, Smoke.
Why are you paying attention to that? Maybe because you was attracted to it. I'm just saying, you know, in general. I'm just saying,
I know.
It could be somebody's eyes, man. You know, it could be somebody's eyes. Man, this person got beautiful eyes. I ain't talking about the color or whatever. I'm talking about the shape of it. I'm talking about how they express it. I'm talking about all that inner feeling, that inner, the eyes, man, that's speaking to your soul.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's personal, bro. That's personal. That means something. That touched your soul in some type of way. And not, you know, not in the way where you give up the farm, but in the way where it got your attention.
Look at Brother Barnes. Brother Barnes, and he needs a. I knew he was going to eventually say something.
Hunters got the hunt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, but it's one of those kind of things. Is no exact thing. It's like I said. It's where you are as a human being. Like some people just want to serve that person of their desire. That's what to them. That's what makes them happy. But they don't really see deep down. It's just the sense of accomplishment is what you're attracted to, because you have pleased her by giving her or him everything that they wanted. It's not giving them what they want. It's the fact that you accomplished something that makes you feel good. You feel what I'm saying?
Was always a staple, man. We used to joke about this shit back in the day. Female be attracted to her brother until he started talking, and she be like, oh, "Okay, this is my
brother." Hey, look. I'm told many females, like, look, we talking and everything, but don't let me fuck it up. Don't let me fuck it up.
Hey, then the female tell you, you was all right until you start talking, mom.
Oh, shit.
That's the funniest shit in the world, boy.
All right, well, look.
You was there until you start running your mouth, motherfucker.
No doubt.
Shut up.
But look, this is what we doing, folks. This Strong Perspective podcast. You know, we here every Friday consistently. We do our things with the three of us and the guests that we bring on. We got good people who really enjoy expressing themselves. Whether you agree with it or not, the thing about it is, the one thing we need you to recognize is we are authentically speaking on how we feel. Period.
Hey, kids, the joke is, man, I went through that experience with my wife. I started talking shit and all this. She was like, I don't want no Jello. There wasn't no
shit.
Jello. I'm all right, man. You know what? I'm going over here, man. You go over there. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't turn my stomach.
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the funny shit is what got me
Oh, that's
over that
funny.
whole thing is I was always good at asking a good question, right? So if a female I was attracted to, I would ask them, especially if they was acting uh, out of character somehow. I'll come up and ask them that particular question. Why are you up here evil? What's going on? Or, how are you today? Or these things, because it's a real regular conversation. You got, to me, and it's wrong that I think this way, but you got to impress me because I know that I'm charming as hell. I can be charming. I know that. You see what I'm saying? But I don't throw the charm and project it out on people every day. You want to know why? Because it's tiring. You know what I'm saying? It is tiring. You get tired of it because it's a mask that you put on. You just got to find your comfort zone and just be that. You know what I mean?
In the state of Virginia, man, you have people who will probably tell you I was bland and I was stick in the mud. But you have just as many, if not more, people who will tell you that yeah, he the life of the party. He does his thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily because I don't think the air quote naysayers are have anything against me or anything. I don't open up to everybody.
That's real.
I don't open up to everybody, and there's no list of a list of things that I require to open up to a person. This shit is happenstance.
It always is. It always is.
It's proximity.
Yep. All right. Well, look, I'm gonna let our guests go. Wait a minute. Keith has a last statement. I guess this might be the inside joint. He said, Keith, you asked them, haven't I always been nice to you? And make them immediately shut down. Come on, man. Don't portray me as a bad guy, man. Stop that.
You out there shaming folks?
It is what it is. But look, this is Strong Perspective Podcast. We here every Friday, 7:30, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what Facebook and our streaming spot was having a little difficulty. I'm not sure the folks on Facebook got a chance to check us out, but they're gonna get all the debug everything by next Friday. But Jaquari, Damon, as always, great conversation, man. Definitely appreciate you guys. It's the truth. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. Go to our spot because we building momentum and we're about to do our thing, man. You're gonna see. You're gonna see because we're putting up content and it's quality content. Go like, share, and subscribe to Strong Perspective Podcast on YouTube. And leave a comment, and I will make sure that we get back to you in your comment. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. We out. Peace.